Hello, welcome everybody. This is Crypto OG's episode 5. My name is Andres Meneses. I'm your host. You can follow me as Andres Wi-Fi TV. And I have a very special guest today, all the way from California, my good friend Jesse Darnell. Hey Jesse, how are you? Welcome
I'm
to
doing.
Crypto OGs.
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
So where are you at the moment?
Right now, I'm in LA, so hanging out here, beautiful LA.
Amazing. So, yeah, Jesse is we've been together with Jesse for many months, working together in different projects. But welcome to Hanao. First, let me to congratulate you for everything that you are doing with the project that you are running right now and helping people in third world countries with micro lendings. And I think some people identify this with you because a good reason. You're a good guy. You're helping the Web3 ecosystem to growth in a healthy way. But I know you, but what about the people that don't know you that are listening in Binance Live? Who is Jesse Darnell?
Definitely. No, I appreciate it, man. Well, just a quick background on myself, and then I'll do a quick intro even on the team. I've been in the crypto space since about 2015, 2016. We got involved pretty early when ICOs were very big, and we got really excited about the space and the technology that was being developed. And we're very fortunate to kind of surround ourselves with a good network of guys, and that's when we started really getting diving all in. We started working with some early projects that were getting involved into the DeFi space. So even back then, they were doing a small version of what DeFi and crypto is right now. Because back then, they were still kind of figuring it out, everything that was going on. But we got involved back then. We were doing some consulting work with the separate company that we were working and had built out, and we were consulting a lot of different projects that were building out. And it was great. And then over the course of that time, we actually started kind of partnering up with different guys. So it was like, as of right now, there is 5 co-founders and actually a 6th co-founder as well, which is Ben, Paul, Jack, myself, and then we have Walter as well. So there's 6 co-founders. We've been working together for the last 5 years, and the project, Source Protocol, it's been a culmination of the last 5 and even longer, since some of our other co-founders have been in the space since about 2013. And this is something that we've really are passionate about, mainly because we saw certain problems that we were hoping that we could address ourselves. And on the way that we've seen it, right, we have our traditional background space, from myself being in traditional finance, and even everything that we've seen in crypto, our CFO being very traditional background, working as former BlackRock executive, managing billions of dollars there, and everyone else being in the space since 2013. So we've seen a lot, and then we kind of, this is kind of where we started to build Source.
Amazing, Jesse. So, a part of everything that you have resumed about, obviously, the project that you're working in, but so many people describe you as the DeFi master. What does that look like? Like, do you have powers when people describe you as the DeFi master?
I wish it worked like that. No, when we talk about DeFi, we get really excited because we do think that DeFi, like as a whole, right? Because when someone says crypto, it's like, hey, you're in crypto or you do crypto. It's as if someone's saying, oh, you're in finance. Yeah, that could mean, you're a stockbroker, you're just a banker, you're anything, right? And so when people say you're in crypto, it's that broad of a term. But then when you start to get into just DeFi, you start to talk about, really a more kind of centralized part of it, right? Not necessarily centralized, since we're decentralized, but you start to talk about the part that really helps people, right? I think the true utility of crypto starts to come out, and that is when we get very excited, because that's where we do see that bridge and that gap. We've been in crypto for so long, and we see all these projects, and everybody, and all of us, it's a great mission that we all have to try to bring everyone in and show them that crypto is going to be the evolution of finance, and how much it can benefit people. And DeFi starts to address those problems in a very kind of direct manner, right? It's things that people can immediately use, right? They don't have to truly understand the difference between Web3, Web2, even Web1, right? They start to be able to get all the benefits of crypto and DeFi from simply being able to, the way that now it's evolved through like the utility and the platforms that we can use and we've developed so that people can use it without even having to understand it, right? They get all the benefits. Right? They start to use it as kind of traditional bank that they would without even having to understand all of crypto, right? And that's what usually scares people.
Amazing, Jesse. So yeah, this is something that we will address very into deep at the end of the podcast, because yeah, many people have heard about DeFi this this year because maybe for a different reason. We have different controversy what happened at the beginning of this year with a couple of companies, but that's why we're here to educate the people in Binance Live and also that are watching us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So say hello to everybody out there. Jesse, let's talk about a little bit more about you. Like, because you are American, so you are a US citizen, but your roots are from two different cultures. So what's growing up with two different cultures, that's Latin American, and also you have some Korean heritage or people around you. Tell us what is growing up with two different cultures in a country that has multi-ethnic cultures.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think, I was very, very fortunate to be able to, kind of have that space. Even, some people sometimes don't know this, but Spanish was my first language, right? So I got to learn Spanish first, and I was running around in Mexico for a good portion of my life till I was about 6. And then when I moved to Colorado, which I'm probably going to be sticking around there for a while, that's when I pretty much stuck there the rest of my life. But it is definitely something that I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be able to do that. And you get to experience a little bit of all of it around. But then when you go back, you start to see the differences, right? You start to see a little bit of differences and the change that you can make.
And yeah, it's very I think that we're very fortunate that we live in a world right now that we can travel a lot. Our parents probably before, especially in North America and Europe, like the culture, they mixed up a lot. And now we have a multilingual, multicultural, multi-ethnic um, cities and also communities, and especially in Web3, like there's so many people here in Binance like right now, and they're from Bangladesh, from Morocco, from India, from Pakistan, Europe, Latin America, Mexico, everywhere. So this is quite amazing that you have, because this will help to understand at the end why Jesse is developing the project that he's developing, because it's to help a lot of people in third world countries, but we'll get there in one point. But let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about Jesse, the crypto. Who is Jesse, how he started, and tell us about that. You used to have a podcast, Jesse, 5-6 years ago, and your first guest was who's this guy, BitBoy, right? It was BitBoy. Tell us about that. How was that craziness 6 years ago, and who was your guest? You tell me about BitBoy or other people that now they are also crypto OGs.
Yeah, no, when we started to do this, it was a little bit of us diving in, right? We were like, we love this, and we just got pretty obsessed. And so it was called Crypto Collective. You guys might have seen maybe some of the memes that we were making out there, so it was fun. And we were interviewing a lot of projects, a lot of great projects that were kind of coming up. And we were actually on BitBoy Crypto's one of his first guys that he interviewed us, and we were having a great conversation, and we were talking about master nodes, and what else we were talking about, all kinds of cool stuff. Back then when that was it. We were interviewing some other great guys, like Telcoin, those guys that were what they're building out in kind of Africa is really where they're focused. And viewed the guys from WAN Chain and some other projects. So it was fun, especially because you got to see the ups and downs. Back then was just as crazy as it is now, but yeah, even it was a good time, man.
Amazing. So yeah, that was a good time. And also your good friend Jack was part of this show, and it's amazing that you are back here because you actually were one of the ones that inspired me to create Crypto G's. That's the reason we're here. We're inviting people that have been probably in 2 bear markets. Probably they've been 4, 5, 6 years in the ecosystem. That didn't jump a couple of years ago and become rich. No, that we have follow the path of all the OGs like Satoshi, for example, Vitalik, and Zizi, that they've been working really hard for the last few years to build a community. It's not about making money, it's not about creating a community and products and services in Web3 that help the masses. Um, but I think so. One of your dedication for helping people and helping community is because also you were a Marine, right? You were a Marine of the US. Tell us about how was the experience about becoming a Marine and that how much that has helped you in Web3 right now.
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps for about 7 years. So I got to run around in the dirt, shoot some guns and have some fun there. And one of the good things is the same thing. You got really exposed to everybody, right? So it's like when you become a Marine, everybody is same color, everyone's the same everything. So, but at the same time, you also develop a really good brotherhood, and you start to learn a lot from everybody. You get to see their experiences, and you really share and kind of become a brotherhood, like they always say. But that really translated into Web3 mainly because it's like you don't get jaded by anything anymore. You don't have a kind of a blinder whenever you talk to anybody if they're from this background, or you go somewhere else. So now whenever, when I've traveled, it's awesome because you can relate to a lot of people and everything wherever they're at. And, you can kind of start to put all those pieces together and kind of, see what they're living,
Amazing, Jesse. So yeah, I actually myself, I wasn't a Marine of the US, but I went into military school in Colombia, and all these skills that they teach you, discipline, persistent, helping others, helping your team, don't think only about you, putting different like stress situation, like think fast, all of that help obviously for Web3s. It's just amazing. And now let's talk about something that's also, it takes courage, it takes resilience, and take like you have to be perseverant. Let's talk about being an entrepreneur in Web3. Like after you have so many failures. So this is one thing about all the cryptologies that we have in common. We fail massively financially with the projects. Probably some of them didn't work. It's crazy. So after so many failures, do you just think about giving up and just going back and to find a job and working for a blue collar company?
See, that's, I guess, yeah. When you're playing in the crypto space, that you're kind of what the mission is, right? You really do see it's like the end goal is like you said, it's not really the money, and the technology is kind of just barely hitting its stride on what it can do. So you become so obsessed with kind of that evolution, right? It's like when the internet was coming out, everybody knew it's hard to tell certain people that don't believe in it. You're trying to show them, you're like, it's irrelevant of what's happening in the market. It's like, it's going to evolve, right? It's here to stay. And so even when, in crypto, you definitely do fall a lot, right? And you go through those bumps and hurdles, but we haven't gotten jaded. It was more or less, it's like, how do we pivot? How do we pivot correctly? And how do we kind of deliver what our vision is, right? It's at the end of the day, it's something that we know is going to help a lot of people. So, once we have a mission like that and a team, behind us that has that same goal and that viewpoint of at the end of the day, we have to make this happen because we know that what it's going to do, it's like, we have no choice. It's like, why stop,
Yeah, there is definitely there's no way back to being an employee. Jesse, I was looking a meme yesterday, or a story on Instagram. They said the entrepreneur is not a single person because he's married to success, which I find fascinating. Even if, I know you have a partner, I have my partner, but yeah, we're also married to success. We have to make it happen. Jesse, tell me what was your first, yeah. What was your first project? What was your first project in Web3? Or even though your first project as an entrepreneur before Web3 and your first project in Web3?
So my very first project as an entrepreneur was actually, this is actually when I was in the Marine Corps. I got really into e-commerce, right? So kind of the digital atmosphere. So I was like, look, I know that you can pretty much be anywhere in the world and you could be making, money and figuring it out. So, that's kind of, like you said, as an entrepreneur, you got to fall in love with the process, and you do got to fall in love mainly with the education, right? You just got to be educating yourself nonstop because things move so fast, and you can adjust. And that's the best part about us being able to be, have access to the internet. You can learn anything. So I was very deep into e-commerce for a good portion of it when I first started. And that's actually what pivoted me into kind of Web3. And like I said, our first project was actually Crypto Collective when we started that project, and it was an educational platform to begin, right? We wanted to educate, right? I think we all start off on that that initial concept of like, how do we educate people on this so it doesn't scare everybody, right? Because that is the scary part, because you're running into the part of you want to teach people, but a lot of people don't understand traditional finance. But now we're trying to tell them, hey, this magic money that's on the internet that all these people are making, it's the future. And they're like, nah, I don't know about all that. I want to see physical dollars. But now, people are seeing that it's not just some magic stuff that people created. It's something. And that's kind of where now it's evolved into, like, we want to show them it's like it's not that hard.
Amazing. So the education part is very important, and obviously we are here also to educate people on this podcast that are listening right now live, or they're watching the video, they're watching and buying live, because there's so many new people that jump. I was actually yesterday looking at my DMs on Twitter, and there's somebody from Jamaica, Antonio Andres. I'm very new into crypto. I just found you in Binance Live. I want to learn more. So education played a very big part of our path as an entrepreneurs, business owners, so people that want to run projects in Web3. But let's talk a part of the education that we're very good. You are a very good teacher. You teach very well about DeFi. What other qualities somebody in Web3 should have to be an entrepreneur in Web3? What other quality do you think is necessary?
I think the big one's going to be the self-education, right?
Okay.
And you have to not be scared to kind of run through that, right? And it takes a little bit, right? Because there's the one thing that I think in crypto right now is, everybody's working on this, right? On kind of that barrier to entry, right? So it's like, how do you make it as simple as possible for people to go from point A of having, $1 in their bank account to having $1 on a crypto wallet, right? And even that gap right there, that it sounds simple, is intimidating to people. So it's like being able to bridge that and being able to help people kind of have that one end solution is definitely big. So it's like, like you said, on the education portion of it, you want to be able to show people the simplicity in the complexity of things, right? It's like, in that, once you can do that, you can very much succeed, right?
Yes, education play a really big part, and also I never thought about this way. A quality to have self-education, because all of us we have to be self-taught at the beginning, and then we probably find somebody that's been down the line 1 or 2 years before us. They probably start the journey in crypto, and they can teach us. But also new people. I was talking yesterday to somebody that he's only 19, and he's running these massive events in crypto. Like, he had like 7 events, and he's only been 2 years in the space. So wow, you are making big moves. Sometimes we think because we're OGs, we don't need to learn from somebody that start after us. But I think so you can learn from anybody, somebody that you're just getting started, or somebody that is being 10 years into crypto. Sometimes when you teach somebody else, actually you are learning more, because you remember all this. As you say, the basic stuff is sometimes difficult to explain to somebody else, because we got used to already about this technology of how to create a wallet, what is a protocol, etc. But then if you go back to basics, I think so it's very fascinating. That's why I teach also, Jesse. I know it's quite early for you, but I have a crypto quiz every morning, and I teach people about basic stuff, and I do these quizzes, and people love it. So education is very important. Talking about people, how long after being an entrepreneur in Web3, do you think you become to get the hang of becoming successful? How long it took you? Like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or you're still grinding? How long it take you to become like, oh, I'm feeling successful right now?
I mean, I think in everything that we're doing, I don't think that it's ever going to feel like successful until, we can say we've helped, 1 million people, 2 million people, because I do see it as it's like, especially in crypto, it moves so fast, right? Every single day, it's like there's a new evolution, right? There's a new something else that's scaling faster, or there's something that there's a problem someone saw and found, or there was something that was exploited that you're addressing. So it's like it's this constant building, and I don't think, I can't necessarily say it's like I felt successful. I felt confident in kind of where we've been able to reach and what we're doing, and I think that comes with the people that we've surrounded ourselves with. And like you said, it's like we're working with people who just got in the space, but since it does move so fast, it's like sometimes you can't keep up with it all, right? So it's like we have the guys who are experts in NFTs, right? And that's very new. And they're teaching us. It's like, hey, this is where people are seeing this portion of Web3. Like, how is that going to help people? How do we simplify that and get that so that people can understand and enjoy it?
Okay, amazing. So talking about people, let's talk about a little bit about people in Web3 because I find people fascinating in Web3. That I have come across with guests that they're from different cultures, different backgrounds, they speak different languages. But we all have our heroes, We all have our heroes in crypto and non-crypto. So who is someone that you shook your hand and change your life? Or you say, wow, this person, I met him and I said, this is something that helped me, he inspired me. Who is that person, even if it's not in crypto, that changed your life?
I guess for me in crypto, some of the guys that I do look up to that I think are just they're doing some amazing stuff is like, even everything, from you and I and our relationship, it's awesome because I learn everything, a lot of things from the way that you're doing it, the way that you're teaching people. But some of the other guys is kind of Sunny, the guy, behind Osmosis, and that awesome project. The way that they're working and building, and they have one goal and one mission, and it's awesome. Like you said, I think a lot of guys, when you get into the projects that are building something for the people, right, that are actually truly wanting to build and aren't worried about the money, you can see it when they're building, and when they talk, you can hear it as they're like, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're here to do, and then you got someone like CZ as well, who's he's all in, right? Regardless of what they got to do, he's all in, and you got to admire that, and you love that kind of passion and the excitement. Where once again, he's richest dude in crypto and doesn't phase him at all, right? He's building the same as if he wasn't.
It's amazing. Yeah, CZ is one of I actually tweet something together about Satoshi plus Vitalik plus CZ equal power in blockchain, and people like that tweet for some reason, but because it's true, right?
It's true. It's very true, man.
Okay, so Jesse, let's get into the topic, right? Because people are here listening the DeFi King, the DeFi King. Okay, let's talk about DeFi. So, in a nutshell, for somebody that's, for example, very new into crypto, what is DeFi? Let's say I'm 10 years old, I don't understand anything about crypto, about nothing. What is DeFi?
So, DeFi, the best way that we can, when we talk to someone who's very kind of new into the space, layman's terms is decentralized finance, right? So it is in DeFi, it's really the primitives that you're offering to people, right? So the basic on the traditional level is financial applications that you can do anything from lending, staking, collateralizing, tokenizing, and you're getting those benefits, right? And it's the same as in traditional finance, right? So it's the very kind of the primitive layer of being able to offer financial products, but in a decentralized manner, right? And all that means is really you don't have to deal with necessarily an institution, right? You can do this all between yourself and the blockchain.
Okay, that's easy. That's an easy way to explain it. Let's call it, but that's why you are so knowledgeable about DeFi. Okay, now this question about what is the difference that you notice after many years of being into DeFi? What is the difference between 3-4 years ago and today?
I think now is one of the biggest differences we're definitely seeing is it is the adoption, right? People are starting to be able to see and understand that crypto isn't just a token and it's not just this fluctuating, asset class. It is still, right. There's still that variance in it, and it actually offers a lot of benefits to it, right, because of how you can add utility to tokens. And before that was a problem, right? Before we were having a lot of tokens with no utility, right? It was just something you were speculative about and you would invest in and hope it goes up and goes to the moon. But now you're seeing that there's a lot of utility, and true utility, right? And even in the marketplaces and the different apps and applications, right now they're starting to become very kind of, like we said, it's like, when people understand the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, we want them to not even have to understand that, right? People would just want to be able to use their phone, and regardless of what it is, it's just an app, and they're like, okay, cool, this is what I can do with it. This is how I can put it in a lending position, right? Put it in a staking position, and it starts to just be different verbiage that people understand, and that's what we want to show. It's like we want that mesh to happen without people having to be overwhelmed with, I got to understand everything about crypto. And I think that's one thing that a couple of years ago we were really trying to hammer down, like, this is what you have to learn. You have to learn what superfluid staking is. You have to learn what a decentralized loan is. And now it's like, we want to show you how easy it is, right? With simple processes where it looks like a traditional bank account, right? We want it to be as simple as when you log into your online banking and you see your checking, savings, lending account, right? And different positions, and you start to learn.
Wow. Yeah, because obviously, like for example, the internet. Let's talk to people that's probably our generation, people that grew with the internet. For example, we don't know, but I know because I'm a computer engineer. But for example, my father doesn't know, or my auntie, or my brother that studies sociology, he doesn't know what it means HTTPS. He doesn't know what is the protocol 8080. He doesn't know all the OSI layers. He doesn't know all these things about all the ports about the website. What is a router, a switch? They just log in. Web 2, login, user interface, UX is easy. So that's the same thing that's happening in Web 3 right now. Many more companies and projects are developing solutions for people in Web 3, but they don't need to understand the whole complex of what is the whole chain, what protocol to use, how I can stake, how can I mine, how can I use a node. It's too overwhelming when you're getting started. Even for us that we've been many years in the industry, it becomes repetitive in our heads. But at the end of the day, the easier we put the solutions in front of the new users, the adoption will be faster, right? Okay, let's talk about adoption, and let's go back a little bit to talk about cultures, because it's every single country is different based on the culture, So what is the difference that you notice in crypto DeFi between, for example, Mexico or Latin America and the US? Because you live in US, but I used to live in, what is the main difference between those two cultures in terms of adoption of crypto or DeFi?
I think it's definitely, yeah. So just in crypto and DeFi in general, I think it's definitely, there's definitely a gap, right? Because like I said, it being in the United States, you get a little jaded to crypto, because we don't see, same thing, it's like we don't really necessarily crypto and we don't see crypto as an exact need, right? Because we don't have to use crypto here for to go buy something, right? You definitely can, but we're still very fortunate that we can just use the dollar, and it's very strong right now. But you start to go, right, when you go down to Latin America, you go down in Colombia and Mexico, and you see the difference, right? It's like now crypto does become a little bit of a safe haven, right? When you have, not to talk too much about financial markets or anything, but then you start to see the differences in inflation rates, right? So it's like they are like actually looking for something that will give them a little bit more certainty, right? It's like in their dollar value and what they're going to be able to do and what they can expect, right? It's like when I was down there in South America, that you do see the fluctuation happen right away, right? You see the prices changing, and you want to be able to be confident in what you're doing. So it's like that's where we get excited about. It's like this is where people are really looking for that adoption, right? Like they're excited, and even governments down there, they're looking for a solution that they can implement and kind of give to their people.
This is what made me also very excited, Jesse, because coming from Colombia, as we're a third world country, and finding solutions for in Web3 for my fellowship from Colombia and also for third world country. You know, people suffering in Turkey, 85% inflation. That's massive. And in Colombia, we went from 4,000 pesos to 5,000 pesos in a matter of days of the against the dollar. We see Venezuela as well. That is like if you have 1 million of dollars a couple of years ago, you have $2 today. That's the deflation of Venezuela. So there's so many countries that I can name right now. And we don't want to go into too much economics, but yeah, I think so the inflation in each country, especially in third world countries, what is helped make us different because we have lived there. We have our aunties, our uncles, and we understand what is the power of losing the value against another currency and how much more work you have to do. So that's why I'm passionate. That's why when we start to talk about micro lending, let's talk about micro lending and let's talk about source protocol because this is the part that get more interesting about technology and the solution that you are bringing with source protocol. That, by the way, before talking about source protocol, tell us what a relationship with source protocol and BNB chain because you are building something in BNB chain as well. So yeah, what is source protocol and what has to do with BNB chain?
Yeah, so we'll get into the microfinance part of it as well, but source protocol, like I said, it's been a culmination of the last 5 years, and really about 2 years was when we development. And we really wanted to build an ecosystem that kind of was addressing a lot of those problems that you were saying, and where people can come in and they'd be able to not necessarily have to leave, right? And that was one of the problems in crypto, is a lot of these chains and a lot of these kind of different protocols, they end up getting siloed, right? If you're kind of built on Ethereum, you're not really able to transfer into the Binance chain or the ecosystem, and vice versa. You start to get kind of a little bit, very very siloed into those different ecosystems. So we wanted to build something that was interoperable, right? And that's where Source Protocol came about, right? So we're building with the Cosmos SDK, and that's where our marketplace is going to be built on. But we're also building with with Binance, right? We know that Binance and everything that they're doing. So one of our main tokens, which is SRCX, it's built on the Binance chain, right? And mainly same thing. It's kind of we're not going to be talking about to tell people about all the different layers and how that works. But at the end of the day, we know that Binance is very efficient. And so that's why we built our main token on the Binance chain to be able to kind of start bridging that gap and kind of that volume, putting it together, bridging it with the Cosmos ecosystem, being able to swap and bridge it into, the other ecosystems and being able for them to do it all in one. Right. So we have our layer one as well that we built, so that source chain, and that, you can do your test net. Right now we have it live so that people can actually start playing with it, building projects on it. We do have a goal, to have over 10,000 developers and different people that we can help and incubate, building projects on there. And then we have our marketplace, the source marketplace, where we want to be able to have people be able to have access to, instant liquidity. That's the best part about DeFi. And I think that brings a big kind of a solution to a lot of these different countries and just people exposed to it, is when you get into a marketplace like ours, or in general, you're exposed immediately to world liquidity, right? You're not just you go deposit it in one bank down there or anywhere, and that's the liquidity you're exposed to, right? So whatever they give you, that's what you're offered, right? But when you're in a marketplace that's decentralized and like that, you're exposed to the world liquidity. So now you can get the rates that anybody can get, right? You're not affected by whether you're depositing $100,000 or $100,000 in Bitcoin. You can deposit $100 and you'll still get the same exact rates, the same benefits, be able to offer, and take all of the advantages that anybody can.
Wow. Okay, let's talk a little. Okay, the liquidity, for the people to understand what is liquidity, that you can like borrow some assets, some crypto assets, tokens from a liquidity pool. You can explain more that into details for somebody that doesn't understand what is liquidity pool, what is liquidity. And by the way, guys, everything that we're seeing here is not financial advice. Do your own research, and remember, it's based on our opinion and our knowledge. Very important. So what are liquidity pools and what is liquidity for people that just getting started into DeFi?
Yeah, so liquidity pools are really, kind of when you're offering, liquidity to the market. It's the same way as if when you go to a savings account, when you go to your bank and you deposit money into a savings account, you are providing liquidity to the bank, right? And then that bank themselves are able to lend it out, right? So this happens the same thing in a decentralized manner when you go onto a platform like ours and deposit your BNB, you're providing liquidity to the market, right? So now you can get the benefits of the bank account. When the bank would give you 0.01% interest rate, you do it here and in a decentralized manner, and you get those benefits that the bank gets, right? So you start to kind of benefit from all the transaction fees that occur. You get a benefit from all the swap fees that occur. You start to get access to different yields, right, from that. But once again, it's not dictated by us or a centralized institution. It's dictated by the market, right? So that's where you get the different kind of variable yields and returns that you can get. But once again, it's not controlled by an individual organization, right? It's controlled by the market, and more liquidity, means more benefits and more options that people can do.
Amazing. Jesse, before I start, because I think so the next step that we can talk is about the micro lending, but I want to address something very important because you have so much knowledge. So I don't want to call up names about the companies, but this year the DeFi industry has been very affected by some other companies, that didn't perform very well. They didn't basically follow the market, or basically they didn't have good foundation. So tell us what is different about Source Protocol compared with all these companies that now some of them they don't exist because they made mistakes, and what you have learned from their mistakes as well. Like for example, with crypto as well, 6-7 years ago, it was a totally different story. But the companies that survive because they learn from the mistake from previous companies. Tell us about the DeFi, what happened this year with a couple of companies they also closed down, and what you have learned as an individual and as a company, and that will help the new generation of DeFi protocols.
See, so definitely no, and like I said, yeah, we've all gone. Like I said, now we've all kind of learned again how quickly things can change in crypto. But what a couple of the big things that we saw was just we don't want to call it like mismanagement, but it was just not preparation, right? And a little bit of over leverage, kind of different methods that they were doing within certain companies, and you start to see that it occurs, right, when it's sometimes you do have to have some of these companies that say they're decentralized or they are still centralized, right? So you still are at the whim of what that project or that company is going to be doing, right? When you aren't offering like a fully decentralized marketplace, right? So we wanted to make sure that everything that we're going to do is it's very kind of put in the user's kind of benefit, right? It's like when you're talking about decentralized, it's like it's funny because the word decentralized sometimes sounds a little intimidating to people because people don't want to be put on this island where they're like, well, I'm just on my own. It's like, no, we want you to feel more confident where you're in control, right? It's like, and when you get into some of these other companies, it's like you were still putting it in someone else's hands. And now it's like, when you come onto a platform like ours, and it is decentralized, it's like it really is you're right. You're not going to be exposed to whatever that company's doing, right? If we as a company Source were to do something that kind of could be detrimental to Source, our marketplace, it wouldn't put our different users in that same detriment, right? It does give them their full control, right? Everything is kind of in their possession, and we're never taking possession of anyone's crypto at the end of the day, right? It's like it's you and whatever the interaction you're having between yourself and whatever smart contract or position you're putting yourself in.
Amazing. Jesse, we're about to wrap up very soon, but I want to finish this podcast to talk about a topic that gets very close to me, obviously, because I'm from Latin America. You are from Latin America as well. I was talking about this in the Binance 5 years anniversary because they were asking us how to build a community. They asked me, like, what is the difference between Latin America and Europe? Because I've been so long outside of Colombia. So I'm nearly 40. I've been 15 years outside. But it's the micro lending solution that is not only happening in Latin America, no, some countries in Africa and in Asia. For example, if somebody doesn't understand what is a micro lending, in Colombia, we have, they call it the shark lenders. So people, like, no, there are no banks, people that go, for example, you don't have money to pay your rent or to pay for food, and then you go and borrow, let's say, $1,000, and this shark lender charge you 30% a month only of interest. So you have to pay $300. So I live this situation. I see a couple of my aunties, my uncles, even my mom borrowing money against these shark lenders. Sometimes it can get so difficult, hard, but also dangerous that the shark lending become very abrupt, and some people get in financial troubles and they get violent. So I know it's a very critical topic to talk, but I think so that's why we're here, to help people how to solve this problem of micro lending in Latin America and third world countries, because people actually literally probably struggle every day, or some people get into massive troubles. I have a story I will tell in the future, but somebody very close to me, his mom, she got basically bad in a bad situation, and she died because of this. But because it wasn't her fault, it was somebody that was next to her in the bank, and she was in that situation. So I don't want to make it too complicated, but yeah, it's a very worrying situation in Latin America and third world countries in micro lending. How source protocol and DeFi can help governments and communities to solve this issue of micro lending, so you don't have to pay 30% to a shark lender. If not, you can do it against a smart contract. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, no. So one, you do start to see those situations, happen, and you even see it, and you do see it happen a lot. And that's where, when it comes to source protocol and just part of our mission, right, is being able to offer those benefits, right, of a micro loan. That's where we were saying, where you go to a traditional bank and you need to, like I said, sometimes we get jaded here in the United States or something, because it's like we can go to a bank and we can ask for a loan and hopefully get decent interest rates. But at the same time, sometimes they don't address, like, if you do just need $500, $200, sometimes it's something very low. And then when you go down to somewhere like in South America, $100 makes a big difference, right? But at the same time is like you said, the interest rate that they're offering, or the way that you would have to go about to do that, it starts to get a little wishy-washy on the way that can get approached. And crypto, it offers that capability for people to be able to have access to it, right? They like we were talking about, you have access to the world liquidity. So if someone down there does want to get a loan for $100, we want to be able to make that a very kind of easy kind of opportunity, right? Where we can use our marketplace, and it's not going to get, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of your credit score or anything like that, they would be able to do that, right? We have it right now. It's like in a collateralized method, right? So if you want to borrow, $100 or something, we're going to have, different, LTVs, but you can deposit, say, that's what we're saying, where a lot of guys, they can deposit $100 and then they can take a loan against their money for $80, right? But that exact same thing, now they can use that and kind of extend themselves a little bit longer without having to go through those certain methods that you were talking about, or having to get someone else to do it, right? And then they're just doing a loan to themselves, right? Those different microfinance solutions. And the way that we've really been working and built this infrastructure is where we can, same thing, doesn't matter of business size, doesn't matter of individual. We want to be able to implement this in small businesses and large businesses, for everyone else to be able to offer, different loans to anybody, from, like we said, from the mechanics, and they would be able to take the benefits from that to the small tienditas throughout, and even to a large, CPG provider. They can do large ones, and then they themselves can do a decentralized loan to all of their merchants, right? It starts to get into this really good waterfall effect of, people can help people but at the same time not being taken advantage of, right? because it's so easily accessible. And right now there's a big barrier. People are scared and intimidated to go traditional banks, because it's like they know they're not going to qualify. But like I said, in crypto and in a decentralized platform, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It's like, everybody can do it as long as you have a cell phone. You're going to be able to kind of benefit from that.
Amazing. Jesse, this has been an amazing experience, just learning everything about DeFi, microlending, how you started your journey in crypto 6 years ago, and with your podcast now, building a DeFi solution for third world country solution and tienditas, like you say, mini shops in Spanish. Um, Before we go, I remember everything that we say here is no financial advice. Do your own research. It's very important. But yes, I want that people find you after this, or they're listening to the podcast. Where people can find you on social media? What is the best address to follow you?
They can, preferably, honestly, you guys could go to, for our Twitter, at source protocol _. That's really where we're giving out most of our kind of information. And that's even like whenever, if I communicate or anything, I usually do it through there. On my personal one, you guys can follow me as well. But I mainly, we've kind of focused on that one. So I don't use my personal one as well, but it's at Lenrad 11, which is my last name, just backwards. But mainly on our, and then you can check out some cool stuff as well on our Telegram. That's definitely where we do a lot of announcements as well, and that's at Source Protocol.
Amazing.
And those are the best ones, yeah.
And you say also that you have a surprise from the Source Protocol team for the audience, that you were going to do a giveaway for the people that follow the Twitter account of Source Protocol.
Yeah, so all the guys that follow our Twitter. And even on our Telegram as well, we wanted to do, a $5,000 SRCX giveaway. We'll be doing a little bit more of like the announcement on there, but at the same time, it's like you follow us on there, and send us a screenshot, or you can even put on there something. What we wanted to do is maybe on Twitter, and follow us, and then tag Crypto OGs or tag Andres, so we know where you saw, and then we're going to be doing a giveaway.
Let me put it here on the chat so people know what, before I forget, because it's very important. And you say 5,000 SRCX tokens, yeah?
Yep.
No $5,000, 5,000 SRCX.
5,000 SRCX. Yep. And we're gonna pick about 5 guys that we can give that away to. So
Source Protocol. Anyway, guys, you can find, if you go to my Twitter below, it's here under Wi-Fi TV. My last post, I tagged Jesse and Source Protocol, so you can see which one is the right address. But Jesse, we have also a surprise for you. So remember, I told you everybody that come into Crypto OGs as a guest get an NFT that our good artist called Andre Canayet. He developed this with artificial intelligence, and he is minting in Binance NFT. So I cannot share my screen right now, but I will share you which one is your gorilla, because you said your favorite animal is the gorilla, right?
That is my favorite animal. That is awesome.
This will be your NFT as a guest. The idea with the Crypto OGs NFTs, when we reach 50 programs, we will grab all this collection. We will do an event for Crypto OGs, and then we will sell these NFTs in Binance NFT to the people and then everything that we collect, we will give it to one charity that we will select in the future. So that's your present for now. Obviously, you can have it.
Thank you.
You can have it. I know you like gorillas, but yes, this has been an amazing experience. Thank you so much for becoming part of the Crypto OGs, and I hope to see you very soon. I'll see you in Dubai.
Definitely. Yep. Thank you for having me, man. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jesse. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.